Talking Basketball Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Basketball Podcast. I am Mark.
And Paul, hello.
That was a different one, wasn't it? You're mixing it up today.
Yeah.
Mixing it up.
Yeah.
So what's on the agenda today, sir?
Mark, we've got to talk about the National Basketball Association.
Oh, God.
Now, I know, we had a few messages about us giving our opinion on the court officiating.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, the Spurs and Thunder game.
Yeah, that was no good, was it?
I'm on the fence a little bit. I'm not sure how to phrase this. Because when you watch the game, something doesn't feel right. And I think this is massive conspiracy theory, what we're talking about, where we're not saying that NBA dictates results. That's what we're not saying, but it's great if it goes into a game 7. I think was it Lakers and Portland? That was a classic, wasn't it? There's a show on Netflix.
Okay.
And it's called Flagrant Foul. And it's really interesting. This is the ref who is giving his opinion, betting and stuff like that, and he gets caught, chucked out.
Yeah.
So he's categorically saying in this Netflix show that the NBA are influencing the referees.
Yeah.
Or were.
I'd imagine they still are.
Allegedly. By not saying you got to change the result, but it's kind of saying, look, if this is a game 7, that's best for the league. And lots of people look at, what was that game? I'm sure it was Portland, and they could have won it. They were 4-2 up. It goes into game 7. Lakers win game 7. And it's like, wow.
I just realised, you saying that, we're not talking about refs here.
Well,
I think what we're talking about is actually the slightly stand back from that. It's the overarching, how much influence does the league have on the outcome? I think that's what the real question is, isn't it? Because if you're talking about how much influence a ref has, who influences the ref? Now, obviously, we've all seen the ones where you got the dodgy refs and they're taking backhanders and all that stuff.
Well, that's what that...
Yes, that's what's going to happen in sport. That's just, they try and stop it, but it will always happen. But...
Well, a lot of the ones where it's really talked about is where you'll have refs or players playing someone's going to win by 20. That's kind of the classic.
Yeah, and there's been ones where
I think we did a podcast on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
A college one.
Yeah, and we've had when the crypt keeper turns up to a game and stuff, people have like, oh, every time Adam's there, it's funny, he always this happens and that happens or something this, and you go, you can look into lots of things. I think there's some are coincidence, no question, but professional sports being manipulated is definitely nothing new. And I think the NBA is a very structured in a very nice way where it would be very easy to manipulate a basketball game, in my opinion, because you've got 4 quarters, so you've got lots of timeouts, you've got lots of slow play, you've got lots of opportunities where it's stop and start, there's breaks, there's entertainment, there's lots of areas where you can manipulate things, and it can be to do with the arenas, the atmosphere, the refs, the players.
Mark, I got the example right here.
Do it.
2002 Western Conference Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Sacramento Kings. Game 7, LA win. It's not game 7 that drew all the criticism. It was game 6. And it still gets talked about today. The Kings are leading the series 3-2 and could eliminate the Lakers. I believe it's in LA as well. I'm thinking about the video. I think it's in LA. The Lakers won game 6, 106-102, forcing game 7, which they then go on to win. But in the fourth quarter of Game 6, the Lakers attempted 27 free throws, finishing the game with 40 free throw attempts to Sacramento's 25.
How many free throws did they get in? Do you know? I would just like to know that percentage.
Sorry, Mark. I don't know. Several really famous or infamous calls. Kobe Bryant elbowing Bibby in the face. No offensive call fouled.
Yeah.
Multiple fouls for Sacramento's front court, getting into foul trouble, and numerous disputed whistles late in the game. And now why this is controversial, because the conspiracy theory is the NBA wanted a Game 7, and it was Tim Donaghy. That's what I'm talking about. That's the referee who alleged that referees referred to as company men wanted to extend the series to 7 games because other nationally televised game would benefit from
the league benefits. They benefit. They get another payday. You know, does a ref, if they're reffing a certain round and it's 4 games for that round, do they get more money if it's a 7 game? Because they get paid for each game technically. Or do they get paid the same whether it's 4 or 7?
I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out there. There's lots of staff.
Donaghy did not officiate that game. He wasn't part of the series.
Oh, no. Of course he will. That's why he brought it up. But it's one of those things where you look at it and go, the person that you see, the ref, is one of a whole organisation and everything behind.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we got to highlight the NBA clearly strongly deny all allegations. And I think there was a federal investigation on this, but they didn't find any evidence about Game 7 being fixed. But that's what happened. Game 7 was played in Sacramento's. Lakers won by 6.
I think.
But that's why games like that happen. You think, hang on,
I think the league
court officiating affected the game there, the result, and that wasn't.
The league has more influence on the actual outcomes. I think look at where certain players get traded. Look at where certain people don't get traded. Look at how rosters and things are laid up. Let's look at. I mean, you can say a conspiracy all you want with, if I say Luka and the fact that he went to LA and all they got was a broken Anthony Davis and a bag of peanuts. Like, it was the worst trade, not just because of the way they traded it, which made them very hated for the Mavericks, but also from the fact that they got nothing for it. And you look at it and go, why was that? You know, what was the benefit? Well, having Luka Doncic, who was one of the big names going forward in the league at that time, you know, he has his ups and downs, as they all do, but it was good for the league for him to be in LA. The same as it was good for LeBron to be in LA. You know,
and there are trades that they have cancelled. I think Chris Paul to LA was a famous one, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Chris Paul to LA was a famous one. Now, where that's interesting is, let's look. You're talking about trades. Giannis has left Milwaukee. He was at the time one of the top 3 players who has been at their team the longest. So you've got, because you've got the 2 guys left. You got Draymond Green and Steph at Golden State. I think they've both been like 13, 14 years at Golden State. And then Giannis was like 12 years there at Milwaukee. So he was one of the top people who'd been at a team for a very, very long time, which is quite rare nowadays, you know, and it's very good. But he wanted to leave. He even announced it last year. I want to go. And for some reason, he wasn't able to get going. And they said it was Milwaukee or whatever. You go, something's not right. And Miami then at the time were like, yeah, we'll take you. But they won't let Pat Riley for some reason. He can never seem to get hold of a player. Now, if
so you're okay. I see where you're going with this.
Now Pat's finally got Giannis. The last time he had a player that was of the same caliber as him was when LeBron went 13 years ago. I know he had Jimmy Butler, and I do like Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler is not that same caliber. He's great, but he's not. And this is Pat Riley we're talking about. You know, Pat is infamous for being, I need to win, I want to win. And who wouldn't want to go live in Miami? Like, Florida tax rates, or Miami, all those reasons, why would they not want to be there? It's weird. It's like, so there's certain teams that just get help. Why do Orlando never seem to get traction? They get a half decent team, then people just leave. There's certain teams that, and I think the league has a lot more influence on the, I'm not going to say like wrestling.
So you're talking about almost like promoting the Celtics, Lakers
it's orchestrated
thing, and then it's like, okay, cool, right now we've got, pushing Jordan out there.
Is it fair to say most people now accept that the WWE and wrestling, back in the 70s, 80s, when it was on telly, it was considered, it was the real thing. And then it was accepted over time that it is an orchestrated soap opera, but it's a physical soap opera essentially. But it is, they do, but it is because they are.
No, I'm not laughing at that thing. I was just popped in my head.
They are athletes. They are taking massive hits. They are doing all those things. But who wins the belt is often decided by, we knew that 3 months in advance. This is going to happen. These are the wheels that have to turn. And if you've ever watched, we've seen some of that stuff on WWE in the background. They plan all this stuff for months. If you look at the WNBA, they don't have that. It's all just reactionary. The NBA is something in the middle. It's that thing where you can kind of see where teams are going. And I think the same thing happened with Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a really nice story and they had a really nice thing going on. And then they just did, and they did really well. And they got a lot of nice calls and they got a lot of things going against them.
Let's talk about that, Mark. But
why did Shea get MVP? He was terrible. He should never have got MVP for the first time he got it. And then he got it again. And it's like...
Mark, before we talk about that, I just want to ask, this is the reason I laugh before we talk about that, because I've got to get off my mind. When Giannis left Milwaukee, I don't know, like, I'm assuming, let's just say all the team players have like key cards and they go bleep, scan their key card to get into the building for training.
Yeah.
Do you think the next day after he left, Thanasis went to Milwaukee training ground and went bleep?
I don't know. Do you know what? I haven't looked at what the other things, but that would be.
It's helping to LeBron's boy when he leaves.
Yeah, there's a brilliant meme of that where they get this guy and then all these guys suddenly run into this office and grab this bloke and just throw him out. And they're like, the second LeBron retires, he's
going to be going to that door,
which is a shame. It's a shame, but
anyway,
I like Thanasis. But look, when you see that and you see Pat Riley now has got a team, he's now got Bam, now he's got Giannis. He's lost a few half decent players, Tyler Hero. I've forgotten the other guy's name. He's really, really good. Jimenez.
Dave.
No, Jimenez. I want to say, but Juarez. Which one is it? But those guys they're really good. But I would say it's leveling the playing field in the NBA. And is that really what the NBA wants?
No, yeah. Again, so we're talking about this soap opera. Are they building it? So
yeah.
I mean, when we look at,
they've got a 10-year TV contract. Remember, they have to pull the numbers or they lose, and that's $1 billion a year that they get to honour these TV contracts just on its own. So it's crazy numbers.
I think where this is coming from is we were discussing the Spurs game against Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we started relating it back to the LA one, because we're not talking about one-off calls that affects a game. And I would hate to be a referee that gets a call wrong and I've affected a championship. The one that just jumps in my mind is...
The push.
The push? What push?
The famous push-off. The Jordan.
Oh, that on Reggie Miller, that they didn't call the push.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't decide a championship, though. I mean, it let them win that game, but the Chicago came back and won that game.
Any Indiana fans, please give him hate for that.
We always do. So, you know what? The one that jumps to my mind is Bill Laimbeer's foul on Kareem.
Oh, yeah.
He does that hook shot. And there is...
He denied that.
Space. There is space between the two players, and the ref calls a foul, goes to the line, wins the game.
Yep.
And arguably,
He got that called for about 10 fouls he did before that, but the actual thing he didn't foul.
Well, I can't remember if it was the ref who said this. Maybe it was in a TV show I heard. Someone turn around and say that foul was called not because it was a foul, it was because of the 300 he got away with in the league before. And that's kind of what it is. But, but if that was the right call got made there, Pistons are 3-time champions.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference because they then go on to win back-to-back championships in the following years. So, I think now if we look at the Spurs and Thunder and where we're getting lots of like criticism, and this is like fans, media, everyone, former players talking about it. And I think the key word, and we always talk about this in every basketball game, is you just want consistency from referees. It doesn't matter if they're good, it doesn't matter if they're bad. You just want consistency. And I think that's where players and fans get frustrated when referees are when they're inconsistent.
Yes.
And I think maybe game 2 is probably the one that highlights it the most. But when you talk about Victor Wembanyama and the defense Isaiah was doing on him, like he was able to grab, hold, bump Wembanyama more than should normally be permitted. Now I know you got that classic saying of this is playoff defense, playoff physicality, but it felt like the Thunder's strategy appeared to be play as extremely physical and dare the officials to call the foul.
Yeah.
Stefan's hair pull, one of the most replayed clips when it comes to all this. He's pulled Castle by the hair during a rebound.
Yeah.
No foul called.
No. The
Thunder then go and score 3 in the same possession. And I think sometimes when they go and score a basket like that, it highlights the controversial miscall even more. Isaiah Joe, flop, offensive foul, embellishing contact with Harrison Barnes. I believe the officials called Barnes for an offensive foul, wiping out a Spurs 3-pointer. And that sequence became, massively watched all around the world. And like we're citing it now, but it's been cited by critics. The general physicality of OKC just blurred the lines between aggressive defense and what's the legal contact. Now, some people say playoff basketball is more physical, but the Thunder was simply exploiting standards not being set by the officials.
SGA reminds me of those footballers that used to dive a lot and then now they, get carded and stuff. I know the NBA has a flopping rule, but they're still not on top of that because he's one of the worst for it, along with Lord LeBum. But I find it grating because he does have good stats in other areas and he does do other good things. And you think it's just those techniques, those little things that you're doing take away from your overall game. You shouldn't have an MVP. You shouldn't have those things, but it's because of how the stats are looked at. And because of how the stats are looked at, that's how the players see the game. And how the players see the game is how the league sees the game. And that's how the refs see the game. So in a roundabout way, what I would argue is part of the reason I'm disinterested with a lot of basketball at the moment is because I watch it and it's not the game that I recognise anymore.
Wow.
And it's not. And look, there's nothing wrong with the game moving on. That's standard. And they've had bigs inside and then they go out again. You see someone like Wemby and they go, oh, everyone's going to jump on the bigs bandwagon again. Except they want them to do all sorts. They want to be a two-way player. Then you see someone like Brunson who's hustling and he's 6'1", and they go, oh, okay, are we going to go back to small ball again? Because everyone tried small ball, it didn't work. But they can't go with let's get loads of 7-foot+ people because do you remember Yao Ming and Shaw Bradley? Like they were terrible. So you can't just go keep doing those things. So if the refs have got to get better, and they've got to be more consistent. I think it comes to a bigger picture of this soap opera. What basketball does the NBA want to give us for the next 8 or 9 years? And that's why I say I think it's that bigger picture. Because when you said about doing this topic, I was thinking, I can see the refs are inconsistent, but I think this is a bigger thing. I think it's that the game of basketball's moved a lot. You know, we've talked about it. We've just seen the kids, how they train. They see, 20 years ago, would you see kids jacking up threes left, right and centre? No.
But I get it as a referee. You've got a really good angle, a really good view. You're on the court with the guys. Yeah. So why is it that 20,000 people in an arena, millions of people watching on TV, see something? I know you're going to say, oh, it's replayed loads of time, but even on the moment you go, oh, why hasn't that been called? Oh, have they gone and hit a three down the other end? You think, that feels weird. Why is it just those three guys can't do it? They should have the best view.
So go back quite a few episodes now. And
I'm about to defend the NBA as well. Yeah.
I'm going to defend the refs right now. Remember when we were talking about you went down and we were courtside and you were listening to those guys playing, and it was like, this is just an exhibition warm-up. And the way that the guy, it was pre-season, and the way that they were impacting, it was like you could hear like the sort of, you could hear that, and you go, they're like 8 foot away over there, and it sounded like two people literally running into each other, and you think all he was doing was backing someone down. It's like, I mean, these are 6'8" guys, both like banging into each other,
and we've been courtside at UK games, and definitely not felt that. Like
no.
The physicality is another level, isn't it?
So my thing with the refs would be, if you imagine that, let's be fair, a lot of the refs are 6'2" at best. You're out there and you're watching that as the game's going on. It's probably a very, very difficult experience to be a ref on the court, watching these people who are elite players and being physical, and trying to work out, well, look, I know you were looking for the foul, but I also know that you were reaching and defending. Do I call the person who was reaching, or do I call the person who was pre-baiting that they dropped their shoulder and they were going? It's like, you're charging, but then you were reaching. Who am I calling? And in that scenario, they have to make that decision. And that's where I think the extra refs need to come in, the VAR and all that sort of stuff. It's a tricky one, because you imagine you've got 15,000 people in it, and it's not like football. A lot of people say, well, football players, you go, it's different, because they're much more enclosed in an arena. It's loud and it's on you. The people are there. In a football pitch, the nearest person is, like 30, 40 yards away. Basketball, it's like they're literally standing on the court side.
But it just makes me question things, even things like,
it's all the soap opera.
When referees come together and they have their pre-game, like, why do they have their pre-game? Like, I get it if you're discussing things like, you're not supposed to discuss anything specific, like about players, but it's just like, okay, maybe a certain team will do a lot of fast breaks. So, okay, let's angle ourselves here so we can keep up the play. Things like that.
I'll swing a bit lower.
Where can I be positioned best, or where can we work as a team best to capture everything? That kind of makes sense to me. Yeah. But I've been in these positions where you're in a room, and I'm not talking anything like highly significant, but you're in a room and someone says, right, you've got to watch out for number 11 because he does a lot of elbows in the post, and you think,
it's cognitive bias immediately, isn't it? Yeah.
Why are you saying that? Because now I know you're looking at number 11 down low. Oh, guess what? First quarter, you've called 2,000 number 11. Yeah. Like, what's that all about? Yeah. Keep an eye on these two guards. They carry the ball.
Yeah.
Just ref the game and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I've been in those situations, and I have turned around and said to referees, like, you shouldn't be saying this. You should just ref the game. You shouldn't be,
I guess if it's
concentrating on something before.
I guess if it's someone who's like, they throw elbows and they're more physical, even if you just say they are a physical player, I think that's fine, in my opinion, because at least you're letting someone know, that they're a little bit more, they're going to push people off. They're a bit more handsy on defense. If they're on offense, maybe they're more bullish and like try to drive through people.
I'm not sure. Right,
Okay.
look. Okay, you came around here today. I mean, you know what I'm about to do, but you came around here today.
Yes.
How many red cars did you see?
What?
How many red cars did you see on the way here?
Red cars?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Now, if I say go back in time and I say I'm going to give you £100 for every red car you see, how many red cars are you going to see?
I landed the helicopter and I walked in. I don't know what you're talking about.
See the point I'm making? Like, if I'm going to pay you for every red car you see, you're now going to be looking for it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying refs are being paid, but I'm saying someone mentioning that, okay, I'm now looking down there for that call. I don't know.
I'm counting how many red cars there will be. I'm going to let you know.
Well, look, I think we're digressing. I mean,
I genuinely, I think it's this. I genuinely think this is it, because I think with all professional sports now, it's changed. And when you look at golf, tennis, horse riding, but no, I'm not saying that one.
Horse riding,
any professional sports now, they're having to compete with social media and views and all those sort of things. It's all about trying to capture people's attention, isn't it? That is what the biggest currency in the world is, attention. So sports now have to find attention. How do they capture it? Well, you have to have good storylines, you have to have things exciting, and you have to have a game that's enjoyable to watch. If we played the NBA right now and the refs were stringent on the exact rule book, it might be a bit boring to watch. You know, with a ref, you've got to give a little play. You've got to give a little room. That was a reach, but then they charged. We'll let that go. I don't know who I'm going to call that. If these two keep going butting heads, I'm going to have a word with them and say, if you do it again, first one who slips, I'm going to card you or whatever. Like,
card you?
But that's what they do.
You tell me you don't like football. You just did a football reference there.
I was going to say rugby.
Oh.
And rugby is an example I'm thinking of, because that's what they do, don't they? The ref goes, right, you two come over here, and they're not small chaps, and they'll bring them over and they'll look like they're going to the headmaster's office, and they'll go, right, you two, stop being dicks, or I'm going to give you both a card, and whoever starts it first is getting the big punishment. And they're like, okay. And they both, and they'll be gentlemen about it, and they'll be like, fine, sorry, I didn't mean to kick you in the nuts, and I didn't mean to punch you in the face. And like that is, if we're talking about aggression or anything like that in sport, go watch rugby. The NBA and all these things are complete woofters compared to that.
I do watch a bit of rugby, and even when you're in the stands, the fans will go, obviously you call the ref sir. The fans will even go, sir, I think that was a foul.
Yeah, it's respect thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like this SJ thing, because he's like, he does the LeBron thing where he whinges and he moans and he complains and stuff.
Well, look, I'm gonna come to the defense of the NBA here. So look, just discussing the championship season for OKC. In the regular season, they got 1,672 total free throw attempts, and that was ranked 26th out of 30 NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the media, they'll tell you more shooting free throws than anyone else. There is an important distinction. However, SGA individually was amongst the NBA leaders in free throws attempted and made.
Yep.
The rest of the Thunder roster doesn't actually draw many fouls, so the team's overall stays relatively low. So that's an argument for that.
No, that's why he gets a lot of hate, because he's the only one who milks it.
And I guess the criticism isn't really that OKC lives at the free throw line every night. They actually finish near the bottom of the league in team throw attempts. I guess the debate is about when the whistle comes and whether Shai gets the favourable calls in those key moments.
Yep.
If you're talking this season, they were 17th out of all the teams in the NBA. Still close to league average rather than leading the league.
So to defend the refs, again, I think it's the attitude of the players towards the refs. And because we've had these documentaries out, and because there's a lack of respect in some of the refs and the way that they do things and stuff can be negated. So a lot of the players now act quite entitled and act like child a lot of the time. And, you know, some of them are like 22, 23. So they are mentally, they are still, they haven't grown up. They will look back at the way they acted and be like, yeah, I was a bit
well, they were
much
so
there, isn't it?
physical on defense, like really physical on in the paint. And it's just like when you look at it and go, well, then you flop down the other end. It's,
And that's the problem. It's like you can't have both things. You can't say, I'm going to come in and swipe someone and hammer you. Oh, that's really good. But
Giannis goes to the line more than anyone.
Kelsey does, yeah. Who else used to go?
That kind of
but who
makes
else?
sense.
But who else used to go to the line a lot? Shaq. Until they brought a hack Shaq in, and Shaq stopped going to the line a lot because people just accepted we can't. You know, he said it in documentaries and stuff that if they called every time he got fouled, he would have just been at the line half the time because he was such a big dude. People just would go, oh, foul. That's it. Like he put his arm up in the air. They tried to slap it. They'd hit his arm. Foul.
We got a big dude coming on the podcast, Mark.
Yep.
7 foot 4, I think he is.
Oh, baby.
So we'll ask him that question. But look, Shea absolutely gets to the line a lot, and he's only second other than Giannis. So we're not imagining that.
No, we're not.
I guess the debate is less about volume, and more about is he getting benefits, borderline calls in key playoff moments, and that Spurs game 2 kind of highlights fans' concern. It's
not great. But I just think the NBA needs to decide what type of, like, certain games, they are what they are now. They won't be changed. Rugby, football, cricket, those sort of things. But look at some of the evolutions in cricket, what they've done 2020 and those other matches. The NBA has adapted from what it used to be, and it's adapted from, you know, over the time the game grows according to the type of physical athleticism, all those sort of things. You know, we saw it with the Jordan era coming in. The difference in athleticism between, say, Jordan, Rodman, Isaiah, that athleticism compared to the players in the 70s was just nothing, you know, leaps and bounds. And then Jordan became the blueprint. LeBron, physically incredible. No one would argue with that. It's amazing, his achievements with that. But we've kind of reached that peak now of what can a human do in terms of athleticism. So they're like, well, how do we have that in the game? Because we don't want just people jacking up threes from the halfway line, which they could do. In fact, they're even talking about a 4-point game at one point. Your dog is actually protesting that they want food by dropping the bowl next to me like I'm the one who feeds you. I don't live here, mate.
That's quite funny. I was going to say something. She did something in the garden. Do you want me to tell you what she did? It's pretty disgusting. I was thinking of saying it. She took a crap in the garden and then ate it. You're disgusting.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's disgusting.
It means she learned from you. But yeah, so the NBA just needs to figure out what is the package, what's the entertainment package that it's delivering to us.
You know what? Where I think they can potentially ease the fans' frustration and maybe de-escalate conspiracy theories is the NBA issuing of last 2-minute reports.
Yep.
So it's really worth mentioning that the NBA only issues a last 2-minute report if the game is within 3 points during the final 2 minutes. That game we're just talking about as our example, game 2 was not within that late margin, so no official review of the controversial calls gets released.
No.
Which really frustrates fans who want that transparency.
Yep.
Does that fuel conspiracy theories and why we're doing this podcast? Absolutely.
Yep. But it goes back to something you said about a lot of local league refs. And let's just take the mentality of anyone who wants to be a ref. That includes you. But anyone who wants to be a ref and goes and does reffing, blah, blah, blah. Then they go into it, then they get more senior, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Number 1 rule of being a ref, consistency.
Consistency, yeah.
Number 2 rule of being a ref, just remember, no one's paying to watch you.
Yeah.
And every single ref, and there's a couple of local league refs that I can just think of around this way, that for some reason think that everyone's in the stands to watch them.
Yeah.
And you go, dude, no one like literally, no offense, but if someone swapped you out for a Muppet in a Big Bird costume, no one cares. Like literally no one cares about who the ref is. You are literally a costume that runs up and down with a whistle. No one cares. That must be difficult to be a ref.
You're a costume that runs up and down.
That's it. You are like the Invisible Man, where the actual face and the person is irrelevant. It's just the costume. It's just the ref's uniform. That's all that people see. Oh, that's the ref. They don't look at your face. They literally don't care who you are, your life, your history, what you're going through as a human, which at this moment is difficult in the world. But the refs just forget that. And I think in the NBA...
Do you think they're after some attention? The ref is just the refs just making the calls? Or lack of?
I think...
But a ref would have to make the call to get that attention. If what's it in? Well, by a lack of a call, they're not getting in it. Well,
there was I do not remember the lady's name, but she was talking. She did something about being an NBA ref. She was talking about being an NBA ref and being in a league and how there were more female refs in the NBA, which was great, and how they were trying to equalise that. But she was just talking specifically about the fact she was a mother. And how much travel that they had to do. And it's funny because there was another guy who was there who was also a ref. I went, do you know what? It's funny, isn't it? I've said for years, we travel a lot away from our home and families and stuff like that. And everyone's like, oh, it's part of the job, isn't it? And then you've said it as a lady saying, oh, you're away from your family and stuff. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's awful. I said, but we're literally doing the same job. It's funny, isn't it? And she said, and she was agreeing with me, like, it's funny, isn't it, how what is seen as part of a job, now that there's more equity in it, so there's more ladies doing it, suddenly it's like, oh, this is why the ref's travelling so much. It's like they're on the road as much as the players, if not more so, because they suddenly have to leave this place and go over here to ref this one.
I'd be curious what a referee's schedule's like.
Mental. Like they're away a lot. And yes, they do good salaries from it, but they travel a lot. Think of the people who are like... NBA or sports journalists. Think about how many of those people are like, oh yeah, I live in hotels and I'm on the road and it's lonely.
I say, here you go. Current stats, NBA works around 65 to 75 games each referee does.
Yep.
75 full-time referees.
Yep.
How does that make sense then?
There's 75 full-time refs. Yeah.
And there's 82 games in the season.
Yeah. Well, there's only 3 refs at a time for a game, isn't it?
Okay.
And
so they're going to be doing more than 65?
They do a lot.
Yeah.
They do around that. Basically, they're on the nose.
Okay.
Because if you think there's 3 refs a game, isn't there?
Well, there's 75 full-time referees. So it could be part-time as well.
Yeah.
Crews consist of 3 officials. Officials don't have fixed crews like the NFL. The league mixes the referees regularly, so they work with different partners throughout the season.
Yep.
So here's an example: schedule. Referees travel consistent. Man, you're not getting home much.
No, no. And that's what she was talking about, being a mother raising a family.
Typical week: Monday, New York; Wednesday, Chicago; Friday, Dallas; Sunday, Phoenix. It's common to officiate 3 to 4 games per week with frequent flights between cities.
Yep.
Wow.
And the thing is, a lot of people go, well, the ref, they just turn up, do the game and off they go. And they were talking about it, and one of the guys was saying, no, this is what a ref does beforehand and after the game. Once the ref's done. But they're also saying about the nice thing is with a ref, you don't have to do much media, which obviously takes up a lot of what you've seen, the amount of times.
So how do they assign referees, actually, just thinking about it?
I don't know much about it, but I'd look into it. But there's a...
Because could they be assigned... I can't remember his name, but there's one referee who... anytime he refs Chris Paul's lost.
Oh yeah, that was it not Scott?
I can't remember.
Is it Scott?
There's conspiracy theories about how the NBA assigns referees. I think it's on performance grades, rest, travel, experience, availability, blah blah blah. But the NBA don't publicly explain why a specific referee is assigned to a particular game.
Nope.
I guess that's going to always fuel speculation.
Yeah, and also where you live. So if you're from LA, for example, it's very unlikely you'll be reffing all just the ones that local, because you're more than, if you live and breathe it, you're probably from there. But as we know in America, there's a lot of people who grow up in one place and then they move for their work to somewhere else. So they might be, say, they grew up and born and raised in Milwaukee, then moved to Minnesota, for example. And then we're actually like, well, you can't, if you ref any of those games, you might be biased because you live in one place.
Yeah.
And that's like north central, basically, of America. So then they'll be sending them east over to New York or west over to LA. Either way, it's a 4-hour flight, whichever way you're going.
Right. It says here they travel tens of thousands of miles each season.
Oh, yeah.
And is evaluated on every whistle and every non-call.
Yep. It's hardcore.
It'd be great to see those kind of stats afterwards. I guess that's what that 2-minute thing's all about.
I'll send you the link that I've got. You'll make more sense of it than I did. But it was, you've got the NBA Players Association. They've got one just for the refs, and it's the Referees Association, and they share a lot of stuff on there.
Okay.
But it's like, so going back to the thing with the refs, I think, in my genuine opinion, the game of basketball is at a point now where, not that it needs redefining, but the way that people interact with sports, we know people who are youths, they don't watch a full game of basketball. I don't think I've ever watched an actual full game. They'll watch the 10-minute highlight. They don't watch the whole game. They'll be like, oh, here's the highlights. I'll watch the highlights. I watched 3 highlights on social media. Each highlight's like a 2-minute slot. It's like, that's a 48-minute game, and you've watched that in 2 minutes. So they don't, they don't really experience it. But yeah, I think the refs are a piece of that puzzle. I don't think it's a consistency thing. I think everyone's from the old world, from the new world, and no one knows what is the product of basketball that we're selling. Because that's what it is. That's all it is. Could European refs go over and ref in the NBA? No. Could NBA refs ref in Europe? No. Fact. They couldn't. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
Well, there you go, Mark.
There we go. Said it.
There you go.
And so it's another edition of Talking Basketball Podcast. Go back, check out all of our episodes. We keep racking them out. It's lovely to be back. See you next week. I've been Mark.
I've been Paul, and we've been talking about OKC and their favourable whistles, or potentially just exploiting how playoff games are officiated. This lack of 2-minute report is creating frustration with the fans, but that's definitely different from saying that the NBA is fixing games. There's no evidence of that. But perception matters, Mark, and the league has another officiating credibility debate on its hands.
Damn right.